Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding today's hearing. Today we're discussing the role of concentrated animal feeding operations under the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act, CERCLA, and the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know, EPCRA. We're also discussing Superfund sites more generally. While these topics are expansive and likely deserve separate hearings, I look forward to the testimony of our witnesses and to being further educated on the topic. According to the 1997 Census of Agriculture, there are 1.2 million farms. Of these farms, 238,000 are defined as feeding operations. Of those 238,000 animal feeding operations, less than 5% are classified as concentrated animal feeding operations. However, concentrated animal feeding operations raise more than 40% of U.S. livestock. As we all know, food prices have skyrocketed within the past 2 years. Between June 2005 and June 2008, the prices for eggs have increased 68.6%, prices of whole milk have increased 20.9%, and prices for chickens have increased 9.9%. And these prices affect the poorest 20% of Americans the most, those who can barely pay their grocery bills and who struggle to get by each month. In this context, we must carefully consider additional regulations on agricultural industry that may increase costs for the consumers to be sure they are warranted. I would like to clarify that we are not here today discussing the removal of air quality standards, and we are not discussing allowing farms to emit more pollutants. We are not discussing the removal of clean air protections. What we are discussing is a proposed exemption from reporting requirements. I think it's also important to add that we are not addressing the reporting of emissions into the water, but rather into the air, and we're discussing clean air protections, not the issues regarding to clean water. As I understand it, these reporting requirements are mainly used for emergency response. However, as we will hear from some of our witnesses, there are logistical questions about how you would appropriately respond to increased flatulence from livestock. Furthermore, as we will hear from EPA, the agency has never had to initiate a response to any notifications regarding hazardous substance released to the air where animal waste at farms was the source of that release. We must carefully examine the logic and policy implications of reporting and regulating, let me suggest, the natural bowel movements of our livestock. While it is important that we safeguard the quality of our air and that we focus our efforts in the most effective and logical areas. More generally, I'm interested in the status of our Superfund program, and I would like assurances that our Superfund sites, including these sites, are being addressed with due diligence and with careful attention to both the cost of implementing the program and the burden imposed on the industry. I look forward to hearing the testimony of our witnesses on these subjects. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.